Hey, PHS, it's Flo, and welcome back to Go Knuckle Talk with Flo. And let me go ahead and introduce you to my co-host, my lovely Lisa Nolan Hafner. Hey, Lisa,
Hi, Michael. How are
how's
you?
it going? So, who are these guys here that would
We have
going to be
a
on our show tonight?
motley crew with us tonight. We have Brent Gabriel, Rowell, Patrick Branch, Jeff James, Colin Miller, Todd Heflin, and Chad Engelhardt, otherwise known as the WAWAS. Is that correct, guys?
Correct.
So,
Right.
before we get-
Yes.
Yeah, I was going to say, hey, what's up, 85 plus Patrick?
yeah, class of 85.
86.
Class of 86 with Patrick there. So,
Yes. So, guys, I'm going to go around the room and just ask you where you're living now. So, Colin, I'm going to start with you.
I am in Stockton, California, which is about 90 miles east of San Francisco. I'm in the valley, north central valley of California.
Okay, I'm familiar with that area. I lived in Vacaville at one time and in
Gotcha.
Alameda for
Okay.
twice in Alameda.
All
Todd,
right.
what about you?
Lubbock, Texas.
Lubbock. Chad?
Weatherford, Texas.
Oh, you're just down the road. Patrick?
Fayetteville, Arkansas.
Nice. It's pretty there. Jeff?
I live in Wolfforth, just outside of Lubbock.
Okay. Reed?
I'm holding it down in Plainview, Texas. I moved back about 5 years ago.
Okay.
nice.
Brent?
Southlake, Texas.
Okay, well, you're not far from me either. I'm in Dallas. And Flo, where are you at?
I'm in Hempstead, which is northwest of Houston, about 50 miles.
Mhm.
Awesome. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I know we're going to have a fun time, and you all have such serious looks on your faces, but I know it's all a bunch of bullshit. So we're ready.
I have a question before we get too deep into this. Flo, why is her name not on the podcast too? She does a lot of work, it seems like.
It's my baby, sweet. It's my baby.
All
And
right.
I'm the one who front up the money to what do you call it? License the Goat Knuckle Talk with Flo.
I'm just along for the ride, Colin.
She'll be part of the business soon.
Yeah, yeah.
She's my Robin Quivers, if you know who that is.
Ooh,
To Howard Stern.
that's a little harsh, but okay.
Just waiting to listen to Lisa. She's not that angel you guys thought she was back in high school.
I am. Don't tell people otherwise, Michael.
Well, guys, WAWAS. What in the hell is WAWAS? Who wants to let us know what that acronym means?
I'll
That'll
start
be
off. So,
Y'all want to do it at the same time? I've got
wait, who was going?
Go, Jeff.
Go,
Oh, okay.
Jeff.
Let's give you a little background on this. Softball in '84 was a pretty big deal in Plainview, and my dad was on the First Baptist Church blue team when they were pretty good. And we were sitting in chemistry class one day, and I thought, well, why don't we get a team together? It might be fun. And that's kind of how it all started. And if I remember right, I think it was Colin that came up with the WAWAS name because there was all these acronyms that were floating around high school at the time, like DILLY-GAF and LAGNAF and all this stuff like that. And I don't know if that's where that came from, but I think Colin came up with the name. Then it stuck, if I'm right.
So
Yeah,
what does it mean?
we played in a church league, and the WAWA stood for "We Ain't Worth a Shit."
Yeah,
So,
a Baptist team at that.
Yes.
and
Yes.
we focused more on social lubricant than we did on athletic prowess, if I remember correctly.
That's
So,
correct.
Yes.
And then I had the naive thought that I'd go to our church and get them to sponsor a team that was "We Ain't Worth a Shit." Of course, they didn't know what that meant, and we didn't put that on the jerseys. We just put a big white W on it so nobody would know what it was, and that was the name.
So
And
when
that's what
I'm pretty sure the people asked, what does the W stand for?
Yeah,
What
we
would you
kinda
guys
let
tell
that-
them?
We told everybody, and everybody
Okay.
didn't know. I mean, they just thought that was a funny name. I don't think really a lot of people knew what it meant. I know my parents didn't have a clue, and the people at the church didn't know. And at some point during the league, there was all these First Baptist teams. At some point, they figured it out, and I think they wanted to kick us out of the league because they were like, "What are y'all doing? We're sponsoring a We Ain't Worth a Shit team in the church league." Anyway, it was done.
And your response was like, "Have you seen us play?" Right?
we already had the jerseys by then, so they couldn't do anything. We were already playing and losing every game just about. So
Did you guys win a game? And was this you guys want to play one league?
we played, if I remember right, almost 2 years, because this started somewhere in our junior year. And I remember we lost and we were terrible. We threw the ball around a lot, and I don't remember it not being any fun though. It was a blast. And then we finally won a game. It was like we won the Super Bowl. It was just like, I think we were throwing gloves, and I mean, it was a blast when we finally won a game. It was just a miracle that we finally won something, but we didn't care. I mean, it was just about playing that was most fun.
So how did you get on this team being in the class of 86, Brant? Pat, I'll let you answer.
I don't know. I guess I was just friends with some of the guys. Definitely Brent and I were homies. I remember it was an honor to be included, to be kind of the younger guy that was included. It was really cool. I was always flattered to be on that team. And if I remember correctly, we got a lot better at the end. So I don't want to paint it like we were bad the whole time. And I guess was it only 2 years?
Yeah, if under 2 years. I mean, it wasn't quite 2 years.
I feel like we got
it. It started when we were juniors, and we were juniors. You were a sophomore, and it went probably till the end of our senior year, and that's probably what it ended. We may have played that summer. I don't remember exactly, but it was.
Yeah, we played during the summer, and we played a lot of tournaments too. Remember, you would wait until like the minute before the deadline to sign up. So we would get the last game on Friday night. So
exactly,
we would go out and pregame and then play the midnight game in Idlewood.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because remember, the more beer that Brent Wall had, the better he played. And so we wanted him to get good and loaded so that he could catch things out in left field. So
he played left field?
Yeah, Brent Wall was out in left field.
Okay.
It was kind of fun. We all had our own nicknames too. Everybody had, like Brent was Worm, and we would do our lineup sheet with our nicknames on there. And I think Chad Reed was like Crow Hop, which that cracked me up the most. I thought his name was the funniest because he would throw the ball, he would kind of hop a little bit and throw to first.
Colin was good for a 12-pack pregame for sure.
Let's not spread too much of that now. We're all grown ups.
So Gabriel, Brent, who was the coach? Or was there a coach?
You know what? I don't know that we really had a coach. Jeff was the leader for sure because he got it all set up, and he'd get us set up in those tournaments. And like Colin was saying, we'd go play late at night anywhere we could. We always wanted the last game so we could show up in Halfway or Paducah or wherever and play the last game.
The most.
Yeah, and the fields were, some of them were, the cornfield was the home run because it was just small town, little great field. We had a big time, but Jeff was kind of our leader for sure. But it was just it was a good time.
Oh, cool. We didn't have the best equipment either. I mean, the bats that we used were my dad's practice bats that they didn't even use. I mean, that was our bats, and we barely could scrape together some money to get some balls, and we'd microwave them, to be harder, and then we'd play the games. And one of the things I thought was funny when we go play those late night tournaments is there'd be some people in the stands, and when we'd throw to first, we wouldn't always hit Colin. We'd go above him, and people would come out of the stands and they'd move their cars behind first base, so we would knock their windshields out. So I thought that was hysterical.
That's funny.
I think Engelhardt showed up with his own bat though. I remember that black and yellow Easton or what was that? Was that the brand, Chad?
There was a black and yellow Easton. Yes, there was.
I remember.
Good memory, Brent. Yes.
Damn.
And Mosley always had a good bat too. Kurt.
Yeah.
Kurt. Yeah.
Yeah.
So who else is on the team besides y'all? More underclassmen?
Heflin. Do you remember? Yeah, who was on the team?
Do I remember? Well, the guys that you're seeing there, and then like they said,
Correct.
I remember Chad, what did we say a while ago? Chad Reed.
Chad Reed was on there.
He was on there.
AC.
AC. Aricio. I got to think about that.
Oh, he was a token Hispanic, huh? I like that.
Hey,
that was our DEI hire.
He was our catcher, wasn't he?
He was a
third base.
He was third base.
Yeah, he was.
And he pitched some too.
And Miles Owen. Remember Miles Owen was on there.
Yes.
Kurt Mosley.
Mm-hmm.
Kurt was good.
Well,
Yeah.
some of us were like baseball players and like kind of played the game, and then there were some of us like me that just sort of hacked around and got out there and ran around. But Mosley was definitely a baseball player. He was our shortstop, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
Okay.
I think
Well,
is that he was our best player. Yeah. And he was so smooth, you know.
Well, Reed, let's start with you. What position did you play?
I was pretty much the drunk. No, probably I played some rover, I played some second base, played catcher some, just kind of whatever we needed. I mean, well, I was not out there for my athletic prowess. I was just out there to have fun for sure.
That's cool. Branch, what about you, man?
I think mostly outfield, like rover, somewhere in there.
Okay. All right. Jeff?
Played center field.
Nice. Brent?
I pitched a lot just because wasn't much to that. And I was the only one crazy enough to stand that close to the ball coming at him.
It was our default pitcher because none of us knew how to pitch, and then Brent got up there and Brent got really good. I mean,
Really good, yeah.
Because there'd be some good hitters come up against Brent. He'd throw him some junk, you know, and he got to where he could always throw a strike when he needed one. It was just pretty cool the way how Brent improved over the time that we played.
Did you ever get one back right down your throat?
You know what?
I assume several.
There was a point right on my right thigh and my left thigh. I was sporting a big bruise on each one where I got nailed in both thighs at the same, within a week of each other. So
I hope you learned that if it's a big guy, don't throw him an outside pitch. He's going to try to pull it. It's going to come right down the middle.
it came right down the middle plenty of times.
Oh, man.
Engelhardt.
Engelhardt, what about you, brother? What you play?
Anywhere
you
but
wanted
pitcher or
to.
catcher.
Okay.
Anywhere but pitcher or catcher. Yeah. I was and I kind of filled in. I mean, this kind of got going, but I would fill in wherever I could, and I don't know if I played full time, but I don't ever remember pitching or catching in softball.
Okay. You were a tall guy, so did you ever go yard?
I don't know if I ever went yard in softball.
Any of you guys go hit a home run?
I think AC may have hit one. We were playing a pretty dead ball, so they did that by design, and it was wasn't it one home run per game or something like that?
They limited you. You're right. Yeah.
Okay.
If you
They
hit more
encourage
than
it to
one
stay in
home
the
run,
park.
it was an out.
Yeah.
Okay.
They tried to keep the ball in play.
The best part about this whole thing was every time Jeff got the bat, it was going to be a home run. Now he would just keep running.
It just didn't stop. Our base running skills were non-existent. We just kept going. If somebody eventually did throw us out, they just had to catch us first. We got in so many rundowns because we're stupid, and it was a lot of fun. But yeah, just keep running. See if they can get you out. That was kind of our motto.
In the beginning, we got a lot too.
Do what, Reed?
In the beginning, we got run ruled a lot.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
Must have been fun.
There was just we just kept throwing the ball around. I mean, it was just a lot of fun.
It was for fun. We didn't care. We were just.
I understand that. Yeah.
It was such a miracle when we finally won a game.
I know.
And then
Cause for celebration.
Colin, they mentioned you played first base. Was that the only position you played?
Yeah, pretty much. I think.
Yeah.
Okay. Who was a cleanup hitter?
Probably Mosley.
Yeah.
Kurt, Todd, or Chad.
Mosley, Chad, if there, yeah.
Like I said, Kurt was probably our best. He was probably our most natural ability player. I mean, he was really good at short. He didn't miss any grounders. He had good, smooth throws to first. I mean, he was just a really good ball player. I don't know if that's what I thought.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he was our best player.
I do too.
He absolutely took it more serious than the rest of us, for sure.
Okay.
He wanted to win.
So you think he was the best player? Who do y'all think was the worst player?
Uh-oh.
Worst player.
Now, Lisa, why?
Well,
Why?
we all had never played
gotta balance
softball.
the scales. We have to balance the scales.
All of us
Somebody
had
was
never
great,
played.
somebody sucked.
So we were all bad. None of us had played before. We're just doing it for kicks. I mean, literally, we're out there in Hawaiian shirts with a big white W on it, and we just it was just more fun. I don't remember us ever having any kind of ill word toward each other. It was just a lot of fun. I mean, it was just for fun. And that's where it started. It was like in chemistry class, and it was like, why don't we get a team together? Well, we've never played softball. Well, that'll make it more fun. That's just where it came from.
That's cool. That's cool.
And then the people that would come up to the field, I mean, they'd see us in Hawaiian shirts like this, and it looked fun, you know. And our crowd started out kind of sparse, and there were some people that started showing up, and there were some curious people that line up on the fence, going, "What the hell is this? And what are they doing?" You know, it was just a lot of fun.
So how did you recruit the rest of your players?
It seemed to all come together just at once. It was just like, y'all want to do this? Okay. And then we just started doing it. We got into league, and we got the church to pay for the WAWAS sponsorship and the whole thing. And we were in. We were getting beat like a drum, but we were in.
How'd you guys get them to sponsor it the second time, or did they?
I don't remember. I really don't remember. It was just like, I think they put us in twice in the league.
Oh, okay.
So that's all I remember.
Who was some of the teams you played? I mean, what other players, like classmates or not classmates, but other people in the PHS that y'all remember playing?
Nobody had a softball team but us.
Yeah, I don't think there was a predominantly student team like we were. So it was mostly the dad's guys that were all playing. So
yeah, most of the people that were playing out there thought we were some sort of joke. What are they doing out here? You know, it was just funny. It was mostly an adult league. There was a city league and there was a church league, and that's all I remember. But yeah, we were kind of the anomaly. This hadn't really come about before.
Yeah, I came home from Lubbock to visit, and my parents and I had nothing to do, and I saw the lights. So I'm gonna go check who's playing softball, and that's when I noticed you guys with the Hawaiian shirts. I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, but like you said, you guys are having fun. That's all that matters, man. And yeah, it looked like you guys were definitely having a lot of fun. So, well, let's see. You guys said you played for a couple of years, and then you guys have some funny stories about some of the games you guys played. I'll start with you, Reed.
You know, the one tournament that I remember the most is the one that Brent brought up out at halfway. I don't know why, but it just seemed like that one was the most fun. And it wasn't because it was, well, here's what you should know is any tournament that we entered outside of the church league was funny because those guys that we played against, they were good. I mean, really good. And we would get to laughing so hard that we couldn't even play softball very well. But like Brent talked about, the cornfield, if you hit it into the cornfield, it was the home run. And my parents live out halfway. And so I was out there just this last week, and I drove out by there after we had talked about doing this. And, you know, there's nothing there anymore except a cornfield. But I don't know that there was really any funny story. We had a lot of fun, period. I mean, we were together doing this and not just that, we did lots of things together. So, you know, for us, I don't know. I'm sure there were lots of funny times. Do I remember those? No. But do I remember how much fun we had? Yeah, and the cornfield was the best, man. It was like, you know, because that was about the time that, you know, people got really interested in the sports movies and stuff like that. And horror movies, and here we are, and there's 2 light posts out in the middle of a cornfield, and the fence was about to fall down. It also doubled as rodeo ground too.
and this is what city? What town?
It's at halfway.
Okay.
All that's there is the gym.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, going to after the games and before and everybody together, just you'd have this pack of 12 of us show up and go in and all subs at 2 a.m. and you know just hanging out outside and all subs eating those burritos and hanging out.
Yeah.
It was just a good time to be together, and the silliness that went on inside of there, and you know, you can only imagine.
Yeah, I can imagine with you guys. Absolutely. This crew. Colin, what about you, brother? You remember any fun stories or a play?
The only specific play I remember was when I was playing first and there was a throw to first and I stretched to get it and my lead leg cleat came out of the ground and I went to the ground and pulled my hamstring and then didn't play for a while. But yeah, no, to tag on what we're just talking about, you know, I work with kids right now. I'm the director of a recreation park agency in Sacramento, and I work with kids and I see what kids do nowadays. And we were a pretty good group of kids. You know, we didn't get in a lot of trouble. We drank a little bit and we drove a little bit when we probably shouldn't have. But other than that, you know, a group that would just hang out and play softball, you don't find that a lot these days. So I'm kind of proud of us that everybody came through unscathed a little bit, but I think we were pretty solid.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask that anyone else get hurt playing? I mean, because I'm pretty sure those fields, especially the infield, was probably a lot of gravel and tops and stuff. So did anyone?
Weeds and
Yeah,
Yeah.
we weren't playing on manicured fields or anything, but it was kind of cool that we're outside doing something. And, you know, a lot of kids these days are in their parents' basements playing video games. You know, how much, you know, that would have sucked for us. We like being outside doing stuff. So,
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, the kids today are on their phones and you're saying the videos, but most of them are looking down at their phones. So, but
they really don't know what they're missing, you know? I mean, these days, I mean, that was a blast what we were doing.
cool.
Did y'all have any loyal fans that went to all your once they got wind of what you were doing, that went to all your games to just witness the fun that you were having?
The crowds kind of grew just because of the spectacle, and then nobody knew where the balls were going, you know, and it was just insane. It was a little bit like the Savannah Bananas without us being any good, you know. We did get better, and we did win a tournament toward the end, which we were real proud of. We got a trophy and everything, and that was I mean, what a huge, from being just the suck to pretty good. It was a big improvement.
Your sister Jeff was our scorekeeper sometimes.
Yeah, my sister was kind of a bitch.
Well, alrighty then.
Said that.
She probably heard that.
She will.
You remember
She
what she was
will.
like back then? She wasn't the nicest person in the world as a freshman.
I do remember being in an Allsup's in the middle of the night, shoving donuts in my mouth and just, you know, just the debauchery. And I don't know, it's just, yeah, those late night stories on some of those tournaments, that you're right, the congregating, you know, in a convenience store parking lot, that's probably where the memories were really made, for sure.
No, the worst part about that though is we play that last game, and then the next day on Saturday the losers played early, so we would play, you know, go home at 2, and then we had to be back for the 8 o'clock game on Saturday morning. So some of those weren't the greatest showings for us, but still fun.
Hungover and
Hell, probably still drunk.
well, that and not probably tummy not feeling well from eating those bean burritos from Allsup's.
And
Bean burritos.
and again, I want to reiterate, we did get better. I do remember getting better, a lot better.
Yeah. I mean, softball is a little tough to hit when you first start playing. I mean, you think they're just lobbing it, but I mean, you got to hit that thing in the sweet spot. I mean, you gotta know how to hit it. So it can be tough.
I do remember one of our early games, I think, and you guys kind of helped me remember this. We were so bad that a team decided towards the end of the game that they would all switch positions. And then I want to say we did the same thing to a team towards the end of our tenure. Do you remember that?
We did.
Because we kind of gotten good enough to where we could play other positions. I didn't want to play infield, but we kind of did the same thing. Am I making this up?
No, we did that.
Well, who else pitched besides Brent? Anyone else?
AC pitched.
AC.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and
Okay.
he was pretty good too.
Did you guys practice much?
Practice.
Practice.
What?
Talk about
What was
practice.
Practice.
I think we just went and played. I mean, that's just kind of what this was for. We were supposed to go out there. We weren't intending to be good. It was supposed to be fun. I don't think we ever practiced, as a matter of fact, if I remember right.
No.
You just showed up. You just showed up
We
and
just showed up and played.
no
Yes.
warm up, no nothing.
I-
All right, I gotta ask, how many of you guys struck out in softball? Not
I
looking,
did. I did,
swinging,
for sure.
Like-
Yeah.
swinging.
Oh,
I'm sure I did.
Probably.
I think
Yeah.
we all made contact, surely.
it's a different swing, Flo. I mean,
I understand. Yeah.
To hit that softball, it's more of a leverage and a push than it is
Yeah.
like baseball where it's contact.
Absolutely. I mean, Todd, I guess he graduated to the majors and played with us in Lubbock. So yeah, I played for like, geez, 15 years softball. So I was, yeah. I even, when I lived in New York, I played in a what's called a modified fast pitch. So fast pitch is a 360. Modified, you just take it back 180 and go forward. And we didn't play in fields. We played in asphalt. So I had a hard time stepping on the bat because it was painted. It was nothing raised, so it was I kept missing it. And one time I hit it and it was a play at first, and I stepped on the first base and he was a big old Guido. He was a big guy. I mean, he started coming after me, and my teammates came and goes, "Hey, man, he's from Texas. He doesn't know the rules." Well, they had an outside painted line outside of the bag to the right. That's where I was supposed to step. So I almost got my ass kicked in Brooklyn. So, but yeah, that was fun time. I'm sorry.
What were you doing in Brooklyn?
I was working in the garment center in the city for a couple of years.
Wow.
Yeah. Now I'm in construction. I was selling fabric to manufacturers, and now I'm in construction. Who would have thought?
I was
But
thinking
that was
about
a
what
fun
you
time.
just thinking about what you said, and I was thinking about what about Todd. I think out of all of us, I played with Todd in Lubbock a little bit. We played for years together on a co-rec team, and I think that I would argue that Todd was probably the best player out of all of us when it came down to it.
Let's
There's
not go there.
there's several balls that sizzled over second base. I mean, he was just a really good hitter and a good shortstop.
I'd agree.
Agreed.
Yeah. He played third
No.
base for us.
Todd was excellent.
He's being
Yeah.
all humble over there. Look
And
at
a
him.
lot
I
of
played a
players-
lot of softball. I played a lot of softball games. I played, I don't know, hundreds of games with Flo.
Yeah,
Probably.
we did.
We played
I
Yeah.
know about that.
50 games a summer, it seemed like.
Todd had a good bat.
No,
We had our team was called the Southern Yankees, and we played in the low league, of course, and we were good. We went undefeated several times and won the championship. So we got cocky. I said, let's go to the BC. So we went to the next level where these men are 6'2", 6'3", 250.
We didn't do that
Mistake.
long.
I think we only won 4 games. And I told this story about Todd on our 31 podcast with the Pirates team that won 31 games in a row and 4 city championships. Just have to brag a little bit. But anyway, Todd was getting mouthy with one of the opposition, and this man was not small. I mean, this man was about to whoop his ass, and then this guy hit a home run, and he stared at Todd the whole time, going around the bases. Todd's playing third, and he just passed Todd and said something to Todd, and Todd responds like, "You should, you big asshole. You're big enough. You should be hitting it all the damn time." So, yeah.
Hey, Reed, since you're back in Plainview now, are those leagues still going on, the church league and city league?
I think so. Oh, if they are, I'm not aware. They are redoing the softball fields down there, though. That was part of one of the bond packages. They tore all the dugouts out. They've been digging it out, and then we went down there the other day, and it looks like they're getting ready to put new stuff in there. So
Oh, very
I haven't
good.
seen any in a long time. Y'all want to get together and maybe go for a game?
Yeah, you have to survive a game. Yeah, have fun.
A WAWAS reunion.
Yeah.
It's a little ways for some of these guys to travel.
Yeah, absolutely.
You cover my flight, I'm there. So yeah.
Checking a reunion. So I played city league, and then I played in the church league for women's softball. And about 5 years ago, they had a huge women's church league reunion for all the surrounding areas, and I went to it, and it was a lot of fun. It was like a cookout, and had group photos of all the teams and people, and we had a pickup game, and it was a blast. So it'd be fun for you guys to do the same.
Yeah,
I don't think it's as big as it used to be.
Over the years.
I mean, I don't think it's nearly as big as it used to be. That's really one of the reasons we got the team together. It was such a big deal at the time, and it was such a big event at that time. I mean, I think our church had a blue and a red and a maroon team at the time, our church alone. So it was a big deal back then. It's kind of just what you did at night.
Yeah.
Now, you said your dad played as well, correct, Jeff?
Yeah, he was a really good ball player.
Did he was he disappointed on you with you guys? Did he ground you?
There's a lot of times I think my dad just looked at what was going on with any of us and shook his head. He was like, "You got to be kidding me! What's going on these days?" I don't.
Did you ever play your dad?
Yeah, we did. We got our ass kicked.
Oh yeah, we got our asses kicked.
They would go to state and
they did it on purpose too. They were ready for us.
They were very good. We had to
grown men, man. We were just kids. We were playing against adults.
Yeah, we had to play them in league, so they thought that was real funny to just beat us like a drum. They thought that was hysterical.
You ever seen the James boys? They're big boys.
Most of them.
Yeah.
Most of them.
I don't know what happened to me.
So you guys, when was the last time you all were together that you saw each other in person?
Oh gosh.
Oh wow.
Reunion 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do y'all stay in touch? Do some of you stay in touch? Most of you stay in touch?
A little bit.
Just
To read sometimes.
A text here and there.
Well, you know that your 40th is next year, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. We just had ours, and it was very successful. We had a really good turnout at our 40th last year. So I'm gonna give you guys a hint. I rented the president's house, and we had Lisa Nolan. She stayed with us. Andrew Dunlap, Gwyneth Dunlap, Scott Broussard. So we had our own mini reunion. So you guys need one of you guys needs to book it. It's a great house. It's huge. Every room has their own bathroom and shower.
It's actually for sale.
Oh, really? The California girl, she bought it from the Meeks. No, what was the couple that worked at Wayland? Menger. Well, anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, I just noticed the other day that it was for sale.
Oh wow!
So a young woman from California bought it and remodeled it, and I guess she doesn't like Plainview. Michael, let's buy it.
Why not? We'll get Reed to run it for us. Bed and
sure.
breakfast.
Hey, did you ever figure out? I got a question for you. Did you ever figure out where this goat knuckle came from? I remember the first time I ever heard about it was I was in 8th grade, and I think my cousin Cheryl was goat knuckling somebody, and I was like, "What are you doing?" Did anybody ever figure out where that came from, or what was
Man,
the
I've
nexus of all
heard
that?
4 or 5 different people who supposedly coined it. I don't know. Once in Irvin Davis. I don't know if you guys remember Irvin Davis.
Yeah.
Class of 80. He supposedly one of them they coined it, and I don't know. Who knows? But yeah, I don't even know when it died. So Patrick, you're at 86. Were you guys? No, 88. We're still using it because we had those guys on, and they were still using it. Class of 88. So I wonder how long did it last?
A long time, because I think it started in the late 70s. Don't you think? I think we were in middle school, Michael, when it started.
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah.
It feels like a middle school thing for me. I remember it most in kind of junior high, it seems like. But it was big. It was big. It would make you so mad too when people would I can remember like wanting to beat people up and stuff if they would goat knuckle me.
It was bad when they did double goat knuckle on you.
My older brother Tim, he used to go over the hill and through the dale. It's goat knuckle.
I mean, you never wanted a goat knuckle on your head,
Right.
Funny stuff.
This is such a small town conversation we're having right now.
Yeah.
We had goat man, and goat knuckle. It's hysterical.
There you go. Brent, back to softball. Who came up with the lineup every time you guys played? Is this a team, or like Jeff or one of you guys like, all right, here's the lineup, guys?
There was 3 or 4 people that would go to their positions, and everybody else would just run out. Just figure it out.
It's sort of chaos.
Find a spot.
Right.
Yeah.
We had a bad
Jeff
one
had
that was
center
set-
field, Brent pitched, Aristio had third, Kurt played short, and everybody else just kind of wandered around.
Yeah, but
That's
what about
fun.
your batting lineup?
You
Just
got to
whoever.
remember who you
Position,
hit after,
by
yeah.
position, pitcher, catcher, first, second, third.
I always
No,
wanted
I
to lead
think-
off because I didn't want to stop running. I mean, I remember that my nickname on the lineup was Squirrely because they couldn't get me out. And so I wanted to lead off. I wanted all the bases clean so that I had a place to run. So I just keep going.
Did you hit? Did you hit the ball hard, or you just like hit it over the infield?
I mean, I could hit it, hard to shortstop, and I could make it to first, and they wouldn't get me out. I mean, it's just hard to get out. So I just got on so that everybody else could hit me in. So, but I just had a hard time stopping.
And I got to ask this: did any of you guys accidentally bunt, not knowing the rules?
Remember a bunt?
Not on purpose.
Not on purpose.
It may have looked like a bunt.
Yeah.
So
Man.
what about turning double plays? You guys ever turn double
Oh,
play?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nice.
Kurt would get some things going at shortstop sometimes.
Yeah. He was slinging.
Kurt and Todd in the middle of that, they could play. They're downplaying how well they did, but those guys, they played those hot spots.
Yeah, they did.
We got to where the infield worked pretty well together, and Brent was pitching well, and the outfield was covering everything really well. And that's that we really improved. We got really good. Pat, I can't remember how many times that he would dig a ball just right off the skin of his teeth with his glove on it. Somebody would think it's a single, and he'd dig it out at Rover. And when they'd hit it over him, I'd cover him behind him and chase a ball down. We got pretty good.
Nice.
I want to know everybody's nickname. So yours was Squirrel, Jeff.
I was Squirrely.
Squirrely.
Yeah.
You don't want to say
Colin's saying
I don't
no.
remember.
And Colin was Putnam because of isn't that your mom's maiden name or something?
Yes.
Close enough. Yeah.
Colin. What about
F-
you? Do you remember your nickname?
I don't remember.
Yeah, does anybody remember what y'all called
Cool
it?
breeze.
Cool breeze.
Cool. Yeah.
Cool Breeze.
Yeah.
All right.
What
That
about
was Cool
Chad?
Breeze.
Yeah, until you start playing with our team, you
Chad?
want to whip everybody's ass.
And Kurt was motion because it looked like he was in slow motion when he'd field the ball and he'd fling it. I mean, he was very smooth.
Mm-hmm.
I
Well,
remember he was a big kid. I mean, he had some
Yeah.
big old fullback thighs.
Yeah.
I mean, he.
And one lung.
So, what about you, Gabriel? What was yours?
I really don't know. I don't know, Jeff. You know?
I don't remember either. We all had nicknames on that lineup sheet though, because I would trade lineups with the opponents and they would look at the lineup and they'd go, "Is this some sort of joke?"
Did we put Frank?
I
Maybe.
don't remember.
Could have been
Might have
Pat.
been Frank.
Might have been Frank.
Yeah.
Brent Wall was Worm because he was always Worm, because he laughed like a worm. And I don't remember.
How does a worm
How
laugh?
does a worm laugh? Yeah, I was gonna.
Very
ask.
well.
Well,
That's the
when he would
gag.
get real tickled, he'd get real tickled about something. And if a worm could laugh, that's the way the worm would laugh, is the way he laughed. It was ridiculous sounding, but that's the way a worm would laugh. And that's why he was a worm.
And he's a dentist now.
That's terrifying. How'd you like to have that guy give you Novocaine?
Branch, did you tell us what yours is?
Nickname? Legend, I think.
Ah.
Whoa. Whoa.
He totally made that up.
I don't know if I had one or not.
A lot of great catches out there. He might have been a legend.
In his
Well,
own mind.
Engelhardt, since you were playing in high school, did Coach Hill get upset at you playing softball in the summer?
I don't know if he ever knew. I didn't make that known. And it was usually AC that was, hey, come on, we're gonna go do this. Okay, and it's 2:00, like Colin said, it's 2:00 in the morning. What the hell are we doing? It's 2:00 in the morning. We're playing softball in a cornfield. It was one of those fill-in type things. Like I said, I wasn't full time, but it was usually AC who was dragging me out there. And God, we played in the middle of the night. And like Colin said,
Yeah.
I remember us being bad enough where we would lose that last game
and then have to come back the next morning. And yeah, that was even more comical trying to bounce back the next morning after a long night.
Did you guys ever just pull an all-nighter and not go to sleep?
I'm sure we did quite often. Yes.
Possible.
Dang.
They're never going to tell.
Just thankful there wasn't cell phones back then, guys, with cameras.
Oh, man.
Oh,
Well,
my Flo, if the technology was available back then, we'd all be behind bars right now, I'm pretty sure.
Wouldn't want any of this on video. There's no
Okay,
doubt.
I'll go back to your dad, Jeff. Did he ever find out you guys were drinking before and after the game?
Oh, I mean, it was about half of us. I mean, I didn't drink anything till the middle of my senior year, so I wasn't
Okay.
drinking really while this was going on. I just remember trying to keep, our left fielder standing up because I know he kept drinking through the whole thing. And I was like, he'd be 6 or 7 beers down and he's playing better. And I'm going, maybe we should give him a couple more.
And that was mostly tournaments when we did that during the league play during the week,
Right.
we weren't getting blasted on a Thursday. So
No, that wouldn't happen during league time, but I remember halfway that, the cornfield nights and stuff, he was near home and he was hammered.
Well, they built it and you guys came.
Absolutely.
that's exactly what that field was.
Wow. I can imagine what it looked like. Cause in Lubbock, we played some tournaments like in Idalou and I don't remember. I mean, those fields were bad. I always played in the outfield. I dove one time and I had stickers all over me from head to freaking toe. Man, it hurt. So I can imagine what those fields are like. So
We were never playing on anything manicured, to say the least. I mean, it was always, and Petersburg was a mess, and halfway was a mess, and you never got a true bounce. And anyway, it was pretty not nice fields.
And
So
even
Gabriel,
if they
who
had been
found?
groomed-
I'm sorry. Go
No.
ahead.
I was going to say, if they had been groomed by the time we got there was 9 games played on them by then. So,
Full of divots.
yeah, right. About 12 inches deep.
Gabriel, who would find these tournaments? Was it Jeff or?
Yeah, usually
Yeah, I would
right.
assume it was Jeff doing most of that. So Jeff really took the leadership role on all of it, and then there wasn't much to it after that. I mean, when the ball was rolling, Jeff would say, "We're playing next week," and I guess that was we all hung out together so much. That's the one thing about our class. I would say it was a big group of guys that were really together. So it wasn't like you had plans over here, plans over there. When the group was going, and it was pretty easy.
Nice.
Everybody
And how'd you find them, Jeff? Did your dad play in those tournaments as well? His
No,
team?
it felt like the more obscure things that we could find, the more fun they were. So the more bizarre places that we could play, that's what I wanted to do. It just seemed like it was the most fun. If we were mainstreaming anything, that's what I didn't want. I wanted to be in some cornfield and halfway, playing at 2 a.m. That's the most fun.
Yeah, we never went to Lubbock.
No.
Like that.
No.
And we played like in the 4th of July, Plainview. That'd probably be the only tournament that we played like on an actual field.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What fun memories, though. I mean, good old fashioned fun, like y'all were saying, that doesn't really happen that much unless you're probably from a small town. But with social media and the advent of all these advanced video games, kids probably aren't doing what you guys were doing.
Oh, and it's probably not very healthy what they're doing. I think it was pretty healthy what we were doing. I mean, it was again, we weren't getting in trouble.
Well, any more kids that are, in juniors, sophomores, juniors in high school, they've got a specialized sport and they're doing spring ball, they're doing travel ball, they're doing winter ball, all of that. There's no room in a schedule anymore for kids to do that. My kid's a swimmer and he's always swimming. So, it's just a different age, but I think even with it being a different age, I still think we were a pretty solid group.
That's cool.
For sure.
Yeah, kids need to be a little more bored these days where they need to go find a cow to tip somewhere in the corn, it's just somewhere. Cow tipping, they probably don't know what that is these days. And anyway, boredom is good. You can find a way to entertain yourself.
Yeah, and there was what's that bingo? Didn't they have like cow poop bingo or something?
I haven't heard of that.
Yeah, they
I've
would
never
set a
heard.
grid out and let the cows poop, and that was the bingo.
What dad
Um,
to use for that?
Chad, Kurt, he played baseball in high school too, correct? Mosley?
Yes, yes. Mosley, yeah. Mosley and I, yes, we both played baseball. Yes.
Yeah.
Now
And,
Mosley's got, I want to say Mosley's son. Did he play at Tech? I think he did real well. If
No,
not,
I think that's Kevin's son.
Kevin's
Yeah.
both boys played at
that's what it
Tech.
was. That's what it was. Yeah.
And the youngest one, he ended up playing in triple ball for Houston. No,
Yeah.
no, not Houston.
The Dodgers.
I think the Dodgers. Yeah,
Okay.
I went to a game in Sugarland where they played, and I was able to take a photo with them. Spoke to him and told him, "Hey, I played baseball with your dad." So it was pretty cool talking with them. Yeah,
That's cool.
I didn't get to see him pitch though, because I think he was a starter, but he wasn't
Mhm.
pitching that day. But it was good. It was really good.
So Chad, when you were playing, was Coach Hill still coaching? He was still the head baseball coach?
Coach Hill was still coaching. Yes. I'm not sure. And Patrick, you may know this. Did Coach Oliver come in your senior year, maybe?
He came in '88.
88.
Yeah, because we talked with the '88 boys with Ansley
Yes, yes.
and those guys.
Oliver and Ainsley showed up at my house 3 weeks ago, or 3 months ago. But
Yeah.
Coach Oliver lives in my neighborhood, and I
Right.
don't live in a big neighborhood. It's 30 houses, and I mean but one night at a homeowners association meeting, my wife went. I wasn't able to go, and Coach Oliver approached my wife and goes, "Engelhardt. Used to know some Engelhardt kids out in like Lubbock and Plainview," and she goes, "Yeah." So Coach Oliver coached my younger brother, and he's a neighbor now. So we, once a month we go have breakfast together and share old stories. So yeah, it's
That's cool.
it's a small world. It's cool.
Yeah, I think he mentioned that when he was on our program.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
And I mentioned to him that I don't know if you recall this. You and I either threw one hitter together or no hitter together. Yeah, and I told him you pitched one inning, I pitched the rest.
yeah. Well,
I'm
hey,
kidding.
long as I could help, I
I'm
mean,
kidding. I'm kidding. No, I came in relief, and I think it was against Sandy. So I don't feel as we did. We pitched very well that game. So guys, let's talk about the camper.
Oh boy.
Yeah, who's gonna? Let me bring up the picture. Reed, you sent it to me, I think, or you sent it to the group. And I understand was some of you 85 guys who were part of this little, I guess, I don't know if it was a
And-
prank. I have no clue what it is. Good
Well,
morning,
Colin-
campers.
Yeah. Colin and Brent, I've been trying to remember the team that we put together to do this. And I tried to tell the story to my wife the other night, and she was like, "What did y'all do?" I said, "Honey, it was like, SEAL Team 6. This was so deep and undercover. You cannot believe it." And that's all I'm going to say. I'm going to give the floor now to one of you guys to let y'all tell them where Good Morning Campers came up from.
I'll tell you a little bit about it, what I remember. Well, first, so I'll tell you who was in on it. It was Colin and Reed and Todd and Chad and AC and I think Tim Hardage.
Yeah.
Marty
Got the
Hughes.
idea.
Here's a name that just come to my head the other day. It was Marty Hughes. Marty was there.
Yeah, but Marty wasn't in on it.
He wasn't.
But I
in
love
on it?
Marty. I miss Marty.
Marty
No, in
was
fact-
in case a man went down, Todd, Marty was going to fill in. Okay.
We had, in fact, I got a picture that when we all wore those shirts, and I see your shirt behind you, Todd.
Yeah.
We did it shirts. And so we had this idea at the end of our senior year that we were going to break into the school and just do something kind of fun.
Oh,
and
geez.
so that's where we hung that banner from the top of the gym. It says "Good Morning Campers." And at one point we painted that at my house. My mother walks in and sees us doing that, and she kind of turned a blind eye to it and let it happen. And like Chad was saying, it was we had quite the operation. We had Tim Hardage listening to a CB scanner. Colin was down the street from the school with a CB to Tim, so we could see Colin if he flashed his lights as we were climbing into the building of the school, that we would know, we were caught. And we actually, talking about Mosley, y'all remember, I think we all gave Kevin Mosley, because he was home from college that weekend, we all gave him $50 to bail us out of jail if we got caught. Y'all remember that? And anyway, got into the school, hung that banner, wrapped the courtyard. We tried to order 200 baby chicks to put loose in the school, and we couldn't get them. And that's probably fortunate for us that didn't happen. So yeah, that was a good time. And the cool thing about it was we kept it a secret for however long it took, a couple of months, and nobody told. And we didn't tell till the end. And
Brent,
really,
do you remember? Do you remember where we got the saying "Good morning, campers" from?
Well, I think that was from what was the movie, and
it came from a movie, and somebody, I don't remember, was it Jeff
Bill
doing
Murray.
the announcement?
It was a Bill Murray thing.
It was that.
Was it Meatballs?
Maybe.
Yeah, Thad did.
Thad Carthel, who did the morning announcements.
Yes, that's right.
Came on one morning and said, "Good morning, campers," and it just kind of. And that's what I remember. And poor Thad, I mean, he wasn't even part of the crew, and he got peppered about. They all thought that he was in on this because of the Good Morning Campers saying that he had.
And where'd y'all hang it up again? Where? In the gym?
On the top of the gym.
On top, we went on.
There's flagpoles on the gym right by the entrance.
Yeah.
Okay.
Looking back at the parking lot.
Yeah, you pulled up the park and you saw the sign.
Oh, nice.
When we got through dropping the sign, we were coming down, and of course our adrenaline was pumping and everything. And AC and I were up there, and the next day he was trying to keep himself covered, because when we were trying to help each other down, he caught the side on the bricks coming down, and he had a bruise from his hip all the way up.
Ouch. Okay. I assume this was y'all senior year prank.
Yeah.
And
yes.
What night? Do you remember what?
Did we do it before the first day of school?
No. I think
it was during school.
It was the end of our senior year, so there was,
We probably kept the secret a month, maybe month and a half.
Didn't say
I mean, did y'all do it over the weekend, or y'all do it in a weeknight?
We did it on a Sunday night.
Okay.
Yeah, it was on a Sunday night.
I think my brother Jeff had given us some tips on how to get it because he and some of his friends had stolen one of the drop tank jet fuel tanks from McDonald's trading post that looked like missiles, and they had taken one of those over the wall and buried it nose down in the courtyard. And so he's the one that told us that in the corner right by the entrance of the gym, there's some architectural lines in the brick where one course is like recessed every couple of feet or whatever, and that just made a natural ladder where you could get a toehold and get up on there. And so we had
behind this plan then?
That is awesome.
Him consulting, and then the reason I was down the road is because I had this stupid perfect attendance thing, and I didn't want to get arrested and then get suspended. My perfect attendance. So I was in the car with the headlights. If Tim heard the scanner, I would flash the lights and then drive away. So
Plus, your mom was a 6th grade teacher, wasn't she?
Yeah, I was going to leave you guys hanging. I wasn't coming back for you. So
who was the mastermind behind this? Like, who came up with the idea? Let's do this.
Man,
and why wasn't Jeff James involved?
Well, and I think they were framing me, to be honest with you. I thought about the other side of this, and they completely kept it secret from me. I had no idea this is all going on. And I get to school and I see the sign, and I think, oh geez, the Key Club has been busy. What is going on here? That's what I thought. And then I go into school in its first period, and I get called down to the office, me and Brent Wall, and we're sitting in Mr. George's office, and I looked over at him. I said, well, what did you do? And it says, nothing. I didn't do anything. What did you do? And We had no idea. And we totally got, they grilled us for the better part of an hour about us doing this, and we had nothing to do
Damn.
with it. Oh yeah, they were sure, and they were in our face, and they were threatening us, and then we're sitting there just going, we don't even know how they got up there, and we didn't. We had no clue.
Wow.
Any of these guys, they kept their mouth shut. They did a good job of keeping it secret.
I can guarantee you, there's very few things in the world that have ever been kept secret by a bunch of guys in 17, 18 years old, and we did it.
Nice.
If you're not in on, Brent mentioned Todd's shirt that's hanging back there behind him. We had a lock-in on graduation night at the YMCA, and so everybody went there after graduation, and we all made up a shirt that said "Good Morning Campers, we did it." And like idiots, we wore that to that event. We wore the shirts into that event. So, but we had all gotten our diplomas, and we thought we were safe. So we.
Well, y'all kind of suck, because I mean, people still come up to me and go, "Good morning, campers. That's real funny." And I'm like, I had nothing to do with that, and they don't believe me. Like, I'd say I really didn't, and nobody ever believes me. Y'all kind of pissed me off.
At least you're not bitter. Yeah.
Really?
You haven't carried that around for 40 years or anything, have you?
Yeah.
I know. So nobody's answered the question. Whose idea was it?
I don't remember.
Yeah, I would say that was a
Yeah,
group.
pleading the fifth.
Yeah, that was a group thing.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I
Yeah,
think
I think so.
One person had to come up with the idea and get everybody involved.
I don't
You
know.
know,
I'm sure it was a parking
we
lot
were
thing. I'm
always
sure it
Hey,
was
together.
and you know what? Patrick Branch wasn't involved with it, but I got him involved in the end, because Patrick, do you remember we were up at the school playing basketball, and after this had happened, and that tarp was folded in one of the janitor rooms, but one of the gates was pulled, and so Patrick and I kind of jumped over the gate, and we took that tarp, and I had that tarp until my parents left Plainview, 15 years ago. It was in my closet, and I finally thought I don't have a use for it, so I think I threw it away. Sorry, guys.
Oh man.
Oh, that's wow. I mean, yeah, you guys could have gotten in a lot of trouble if you would have been caught. You guys would have probably seen spent the weekend, or not the weekend, but a few days in jail. But hey, except for Colin, because he would have been gone.
Yeah.
We had Kevin Mosley backing us up. We were fine.
Oh, nice. Oh, cool.
Let's transition the conversation a little bit to high school. So I want you to share like one of your most fun or your best memories of high school. It can be about a teacher, a coach, an experience with a classmate, just something that stands out for you about your high school years, or maybe in particular your senior year. So Colin, I'm going to start with you.
Ooh, that's hard to put me on the spot like that in a hurry. It was a lot of my memories are football. I remember specific things about specific games. I remember that we had a really good group of people. Brent talked about we were a group, and every morning before school there was a big group of people standing out in the parking lot before we went into the thing, and on the weekends, that the whole idea behind the Good Morning Campers thing was probably 4 or 5 people leaned on the back of a pickup truck with a cooler in the back, just talking about things. And so there was a lot of good times that way. I don't know if I can really call anything out.
Is there a particular teacher that that impacted you?
Coach Sherwood, after the second game of our season, I had done pretty well against the first, or in the first game. I had blocked pretty well in that game, and the second game I didn't do as well. And he came up to me in the locker room after that game and said, after that first game, I thought I was going to be able to tell people I was coaching one of the best tackles I ever had, but after this game, I'm not sure if I can do that.
Oh.
And that made an impact on me. He never yelled. He never, he would be angry, but he never yelled at people, but he would hit you with something like that every now and then. And that made an impact. And I had a better season after that. So.
Cool.
Yeah, I liked his subtle version of "get your shit together," right?
Mhm.
Or
And
get out.
that's exactly what it was, and it was very effective.
Yeah, very effective. Chad, what about you?
Oh gosh. Memories. Okay, I got two. Can I do two?
Absolutely.
First one, I mean, guys, you got to remember, I transferred in halfway through my sophomore year. I came from Houston and was moving in.
Where in Houston did you live? If you don't mind asking real quick.
Kingwood.
Okay.
Kingwood. And that was, if you played football, that was all you did. You weren't
Yeah.
going to play any other sport, So I was coming to Plainview and, could play multiple sports, Coach Sherwood, the whole atmosphere. But my story is, I remember the first day. I remember going into that school. I didn't know a soul. I didn't know anybody. I remember walking in. I didn't know what to do. I remember walking into the cafeteria, kind of where everybody kind of hung out before the bell rang to go to class, and just kind of hanging around. And I remember Joe Kai Schultz walking up, introduced himself, shook my hand, and walked me through that first day of it was traumatic for me because I was trying to find a way to fit in, I mean, and Joe Kai was the guy that reached out, and it really touched me. It's that personifies the West Texas attitude. That personifies Plainview, Texas right there to me. So that's one story. The other story has to do with Mr. Colin Miller. And I remember, off season. No, it was 2 days before. I think it was 2 days before our senior year. We had the field house, and we were doing. They brought in a guy to do aerobics. Do y'all remember that, guys, for the football team?
That was Coach Spoon.
Duckett.
I think he had
Martin Duckett.
horns.
Yeah.
I think he had horns. I mean, he was and stood up on that box and put us through all this stuff and everything else, and we thought this was just absolutely silly, this guy. And I remember the next day, we all show up, and we are just crawling in and laying on the turf. Miller comes walking up. And all he said was, "I will never make fun of Richard Simmons again." That's it right there. That workout that they did put us through, it did pay off. I mean, it was tough, but we were so sore and hurting so bad. I thought Colin summed it up really, really well.
Chad, I have to tell you something funny. I worked for a wellness company years ago, and one of the directors was this huge dude. I mean, he looks like a wrestling federation kind of guy. He played college football, and I'm talking 6'4", 280, big dude, and he was muscle bound. And he said, I want to know what this yoga thing. I'm a yoga therapist. And I put him through what I call the gentlest yoga session I could imagine on a Friday. He was smart to do it on a Friday. And he came crawling in on Monday. And he said, that is the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. He said, I couldn't even sit down on the effing toilet.
Yeah.
He was in so much pain. This big muscle bound guy that worked out all the time, but, moving his body in a different way. I couldn't stop laughing. It was pretty hysterical. I mean, he was walking. He needed a cane or a walker to move. He never poked fun of yoga ever again, by the way.
No.
Well, hey, Chad, what was worse, playing football or baseball in dry heat, 90-degree, 100 weather, or playing here in Houston in 90-degree with 100% humidity?
It was more challenging to play out west. It was dry. I remember you had to learn how to pitch with wind. If the wind was at your back, you had a pitch or two that would work best with the wind. If the wind was coming from either side, it would move the ball. If you're throwing into the wind, your breaking ball is going to work more. So there were more challenges, I think, due to the wind and due to the weather. I mean, I remember some of the games we played. We played a baseball game it was snowing that morning. It quit snowing, the sun came out, the wind started blowing, and we played in 30-something degrees with the wind chill in the single digits, I think. But the wind was blowing straight in. Yeah, well, wind was blowing in and had a fly ball hit the center field that I saw the second baseman catch facing center field.
Oh, geez.
Because it blew it out the center field and blew it back to him.
Wow.
So
Oh, yeah.
I think, yeah, definitely more challenging.
So I guess you were the sunshine character of Remember the Titans, huh? Except you didn't have the golden locks, but you
Yeah.
were a brunette. All right.
Good looking kid. The girls were all over him.
Sunshine. All right, Patrick, what about you, brother? I mean, you're younger than these guys.
I was like, Chad Engelhardt, who's this guy? He was a good looking guy. All the girls were all about who's this big city guy. As far as like favorite teachers, I think Mr. McBee. I was in student government, so I spent a lot of time with Larry in high school, and I always had a lot of respect for Mr. McBee. Good guy. I got licks from him too, because
Thank you.
Get licks. You guys remember getting licks?
Yeah.
That's a question we'll ask in a minute, everyone, and ask why.
Yeah.
I got several of those, and it was always stupid. Good memories. Basketball was my sport that I loved, so I have fond memories of being on bus trips with a lot of those guys. I got to see the greatness of Willie Ainsley my senior year. But Andrew Jackson, Thomas Curry, that whole group, Reuben Riggins. I just remember a lot of good memories with those guys on the buses. And outside of high school, I guess, and probably don't have time to do it here, but I just thought about, remember all the Ruidoso trips we would take?
Oh,
That's
Yeah.
But anyway, that's basically it for me, I think.
Okay. What about you, Jeff?
I remember one day in particular, we're all getting together as seniors and getting the senior class together. We're going to take a group picture. And so we're sitting there, and I had no concept of what this picture would look like in person. All I thought about, everybody's pretty excited. We've got a big group here. I'm one of, hundreds of students in this class. And so I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, well, I'm on the front row, Mr. McBee, Mr. George, and Brent Wall's next to me, and Brent and Colin on the front row. And I'm thinking, there's a lot of people here. And you look around and you think you're kind of, isolated and you can't be seen. And so I kind of poked Brent next to me and I said, hey, let's do something that we'll kind of look back on and laugh about. And this was not obscene. We weren't flipping off Hell County or anything. I said, just put your middle finger out on your left hand so that when we get the picture back, we'll look at this and think it's funny. And so it went down the road to Colin and Brent, and we all kind of did this. And we couldn't wait to get this picture back because, it'd just be funny to laugh at and then you move on, right? And we get it back, and all of our left hands are blocked out. And so we knew that we were busted, and we didn't realize that we were gigantic compared to, somebody in the back row was, pretty small, and we're on the front, and we're 3 feet big on the picture. And, it's pretty easy to spot. And we just thought we were very, very hidden, and we weren't. We were really exposed. And we got that picture back and we panicked and yeah, we got that was a big trouble thing. You talk about licks. I got 9 licks over 3 days. I got in-school suspension.
Oh, geez.
Which, I didn't get in that kind of trouble ever, not in-school suspension. There was a bunch of hardened criminals in there. And we weren't eligible for any kind of class, voting things. No awards. We weren't eligible for those kinds of things because of this funny thing that we thought we were only going to know about and nobody else. So anyway, that's how that kind of went down. That was funny.
Yeah, Christy A Day, when we spoke with her, she goes, ask the guys about the birdie at the senior picture. Or birdies.
Yeah.
That's cool.
There was a funny story involving Colin and Brent too. I was trying to think about things that that there were people here, and I had a white pickup truck with a toolbox, and my only tool in there was I had a crescent wrench, and that's all I had. I didn't have a screwdriver, nothing. And so I got into this mode where I was stealing road signs like a maniac. I just go out and just rip off road signs and throw them in the back of my truck. And And I like the big flashing, glowing construction lights because I could put them in the toolbox and it kind of went whoa, whoa, and made my toolbox glow. I thought that was cool. I caught a possum one time. I chunked it in there and it stayed in there with those glowing lights, just weird stuff like that. Well, one night I'm out late and I think, Colin and Brent are lifeguards at the country club. And I thought, let's go put a road sign at the bottom of the pool and, they'll have to swim it out. Ha ha, it's real funny, right? Well, I put one down there and I thought, well, if one's good, 27 is better. And so we just put them all down there. And along with the glowing lights, and they wouldn't go out. They just kept flashing in the bottom of the pool, and it looked like something out of Cocoon. It was really cool. And so we took off, and I didn't think anything else about it. I thought they'd call me the next day and go, "Oh, it's real funny, Jeff, you big jerk." And Colin called me up at work, up at my dad's shop, and he was really upset because they had to drain the entire pool to get those signs out because they were so heavy. And anyway, I had no idea that was going to happen. I thought it was a funny thing to do, and evidently not so funny.
You get in trouble?
Colin was mad at me.
Colin.
Yeah, you can only work for
Well,
him.
he didn't get paid. He didn't work. No pay. Right?
I wasn't Colin's special friend that day.
No, you weren't. No, you weren't. So, Reed, what about you?
I've been trying to think about this for a couple of days, and for me, the whole thing, all of it, growing up in Plainview, it was all fun. I was telling Jeff the other day, there's some things that I remember like they were yesterday, but there's one particular time, and I don't know if Colin remembers this or not. We were sitting in his driveway near that black and silver pickup, and we were listening, and I think you can correct me if I'm wrong, we were listening to Howard Jones. That's when his music had just come out. But anyway, we're sitting back there. You're sitting on one side, I'm sitting on the other, and we weren't trying to do anything. And we started drumming, and this is so stupid, guys. This is the stupidest thing ever. We started drumming, but we were drumming exactly the same on each side, and we did this for like the whole song. And when it was over with, it was just like we had the best time ever, and we were laughing so hard because it was exactly, but it was just another one of those times when we were just always just hanging out. And I remember Brent Gabriel and I were the kings of waiting till 3 days before to do research papers in the basement at his house. Those are the things I remember. It was just, there wasn't anything really in particular. We did some crazy shit. Like the night that we did the Good Morning Campers things, we met at my parents' house. We lived over on Borger then. And do y'all remember this? My dad had those little bitty beers in the refrigerator, and I can't remember.
Mickey's?
Yes.
Mickey's?
And they drank 4 or 5 of those because we were trying to get our courage up because we were really nervous about that whole deal. But yeah, I don't really have, it's funny the things that stick with you about what you enjoyed in your life. And growing up with these guys, growing up in Plainview was the best. It really was. Sitting on Gibson's parking lot, Howard's parking lot, making the drag, the fun park. All of it. There was never any bad times. I don't remember a bad day growing up with these guys. So I'm not trying to sound corny or anything. It was just a great life, man. We were lucky to grow up when we did.
For sure.
Hi.
What about any teachers? Any teachers make an impact on you?
Mrs. Williams, world history teacher.
Why is that?
Well, she didn't play. She was hard, but she was fair. And in particular, one time we were doing, we'd been working on research papers. And here's the way you got your research paper topic. She passed around a basket, and it just had little pieces of paper in it, and you got what you got. And there was no trading or anything else. Well, she was hard, but you learned. Anyway, so after we got done with our research papers and everything, the day we were supposed to get our grades, she held like 3 or 4 of us out in the hallway. Well, I'm all like, oh man, I failed. It's that type of deal. And after everybody entered, we were out there and she said, I'm fixing to go in there. And she said, and I'm fixing to drop the hammer on this class. She said, just so you know, she said, y'all are the only ones that passed. There was only like 4 or 5 of us that passed.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And we're talking about back then, there used to be 30, 35 people in a class. I mean, I can't remember how many were in our graduating class. What was it? 300?
Yeah.
297.
Huh?
297.
297.
Really?
Yeah, she
No.
was probably my favorite though.
She's my favorite teacher too, because she made you think. I mean, you had to think about what, she made you read the current events newspaper every day. And she was just awesome. She really made you think, and a high B in her class was really doing something. I mean, she made you work for a grade.
Nice. Okay. Heflin.
I was thinking about that. I can't think of one teacher. I mean, I couldn't even give you a name. That's pretty terrible. But the things that I remember the most is, Flo and I kind of grew up. We were on the other side of town. But when I got to high school, and I just remember, I don't remember when it happened or what happened or whatever. I mean, I was just a manager with the football team or the basketball team, but I remember being included, and I thought that was so cool. And that's where I met everybody. I mean, that's where I met Colin. That's where I met Brent. Through Brent, I met Patrick, and we just started hanging out. And I just remember junior, senior year was probably the things that I remember the most. I mean, our summers were just epic, whether it was going to Ruidosa, and man, there's stories there for sure.
Ooh.
And, just all those late night softball games where we were playing like a 1-day tournament that started at 9 o'clock and maybe ended at 4, and then we had dragged back to Plainview from wherever we were. And it was just all the fights on the parking lots we got to witness that we never were a part of, but we just got to witness people just getting wore out on the parking lots and stuff. I mean, it's just crazy stuff like that the kids today, like, I know none of my kids have experienced anything like we got to experience. So I was very thankful for all of that.
Now, the late AC, may he rest in peace. He didn't get any fights because he was a tough son of a bitch, if I
I don't
remember.
think anybody wanted any of that. I don't
Yeah.
remember that.
Todd, you were pretty athletic, man. I mean, you played really good in softball, and didn't you play basketball with us in Lubbock with Ross Ward?
I mean,
Yeah.
when I got to college, I just started playing.
Okay.
I played basketball, I played softball, I played fast pitch with you, fast pitch softball one season, which was just crazy.
Oh, you played with it? I remember you playing with me.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
several
that
games.
shit-
I just
that
remember
shit
being
was-
like,
that's-
that's just unbelievable.
Chad, you talking about try to hit that? I cannot get the rise ball. It's low.
No.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, we faced to do it in New Mexico through the high 80s, maybe low 90s, fast pitch.
No.
You got to understand, when they release the ball, they're about a foot off the mound. And they're like,
closer
right,
to you.
Crazy.
yeah, exactly. And that was one game that I had a hard time playing. But anyway, yeah, I mean, if I don't mind me asking, you don't have to answer. Why didn't you play in high school?
I just didn't.
Okay.
I just didn't. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know.
You played
I
golf,
got-
didn't you?
Yeah, I played golf. I mean, if you
You were on the
call
golf
that
team.
sport, it's
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I
still
mean,
do, but-
we played with Rob and those guys in Lubbock. So,
Right.
yeah. Who are we missing? Brent. He's their last one, right?
I guess. Well, first, I'll echo man, what a blessing to grow up in Plainview and the families that were around. And no matter where you were, people were looking out for you and pushing you in a positive direction. And that was a bubble of an unbelievable, epic time, I think. The Coach Sherwood, what he brought into the community and the community itself, we were very fortunate to just be a part of that. So,
Very fortunate.
yeah, there's nothing like that. I don't think anybody gets, when we talk about growing up in Plainview and the way that was, I don't think people had that same experience. And you know, just to kind of reiterate about the group and having fun, I'm going to tell a couple of quick stories. Just because I think we did pranks that were harmless a lot, and there was a coach, and Colin mentioned like standing out in the parking lot before school, and we're just hanging out, and that was the rule was you were supposed to go in, or you couldn't be in your cars. And most of the people on parking lot duty left it alone, but there was a new coach, and I have no idea who he was. And he was giving us all a hard time about standing out there. And so we took a mannequin from my dad's store and put it in somebody's car and made a cassette tape with going through the player going, "Coach, leave me alone. I'm not going in. It's too cold. Go away." And heck, coach was out there just kind of getting on that mannequin, and we're all standing there laughing and stuff like that. That was our group. That was fun. And we did things like that quite a bit. And so another quick one was Stacy, my sister, had Kim Tuttle's car keys made somehow. Colin remembers this. And so Stacy used to move Kim Tuttle's car when Kim wasn't around. And Kim didn't, she'd come out and the car would be in a different place. Well, when Stacy graduated, Carrie Tuttle was in our class. And Stacy, it was like a big ceremony that she hands me the keys and tells me, "Here's the deal. You take that car and you just move it around." And so Colin and Todd, I mean, we all did this. I had Carrie's car keys, but we all take turns in different situations and move her car around the parking lot or put stuff in her car so she wouldn't know, how it got there. And that was just little pranks we did all the time, which were harmless and fun. It was a good time. Colin, you remember that?
I do.
Yeah.
What about teachers? Is there any particular teacher that stands out for you?
I really liked.
Bad.
What?
It can be positive or negative.
No, I'll pause it. You know what? Mrs. Berry for the computer department, that was really cool. That was new. Doing those programs in DOS was just kind of, that was just on the edge of new stuff. So that was a lot of fun. But of course, the coaches. And, we had Coach Selke in the 7th grade. And then he moved up through whatever period of time, and he was with us our senior year. And I would say, without a doubt, some of the things that he said and did for us, changed the way I think all my life. And guys like Coach Parr, who were, Coach Parr was kind of that hard Marine attitude, and his, "Hey, winners do what losers hate to do," those kind of sayings that he threw out all the time, that stuff sticks with you. And we were very blessed to have those kind of people. And Coach Sherwood's, like you said, his just, quiet, but he pushed you, and I'm just grateful for the time we had and the friends we had.
That's cool. Now, Colin, Brent, Chad, anyone else play football? Patrick, did you play football or just basketball?
Senior year, call it
Yeah.
that.
Okay, you're talking about, okay. Reed, did you play football?
Junior year,
Yeah.
play our senior year.
Well, let me ask you guys, who was y'all's Rudiger of y'all's class?
Didn't play football because I was 130 pounds soaking wet. I was really small.
You're talking about the Fighting Heart Award, aren't you?
No, I'm just talking about Rudiger. I mean, how do you?
That's kind of what it is.
What it is? Okay.
My brother got the Fighting Heart Award, so I was going to give a dig on my brother, but
Okay.
I don't know if I would remember.
Wow, speechless, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thinking.
All right. Thinking, huh?
Yeah.
Well, all right. We'll go to the next question. Now, you guys were tight. You guys have been saying that all night. But you guys had a group of girls who was also tight with y'all's group. Like you mentioned Carrie, I assumed Christy 80, Patrick's sister, Julie. She's 85? Yeah. Julie,
Susan Martin.
Susan Martin. I mean, you guys were not just you boys, but there was those groups of girls that was tight with y'all.
Carol Evans, my cousin,
Yeah.
Cheryl.
Oh yeah, yeah. So, you guys were unique because, Lisa, I don't think our class had that,
We did.
huh?
We did. We had that.
Hmm. No, we didn't.
Why are you?
Maybe you weren't
Well, me
invited.
and you don't count.
Well, I wasn't a part of that because my parents didn't let me go anywhere or do anything. So while everybody
Right.
was out having fun, I was stuck at home doing chores. So I mean, I was a cheerleader, so I could go to the game and come home from the game, and that was about it. So, but I did witness that in our class. There were a bunch of guys and girls that hung out together.
Okay.
You were probably getting in trouble somewhere doing something you weren't supposed to.
No, I didn't get in trouble in high school. I was playing sports, and I got in trouble one time, and I got threatened to get kicked off the team, and I didn't do anything till season was over.
So, guys, let's go to the licks. Okay, who? Show of hands, who got licks by Mr. McBee? Because he's a legend in the lick department.
I'm raising my hand because I got licks from everyone. I'm
I
not
didn't get any
joking.
licks, but I heard about. I mean, Mr. McBee was somebody to be feared. I heard he was kind of ruthless sometimes.
Well, and I got the 9 licks in 3 days that I got from Mr. McBee, so that wasn't any joke. I wasn't looking forward to that at all. I mean, he let you have it.
Yeah, he took.
didn't hold
I
back.
witnessed it. I mean, he took a good swing.
And someone said he was a tennis player. That's probably why he had that upward swing, I guess. What about Chad? You didn't raise your hand. You didn't get any licks?
One time.
Okay. What did you do?
I was messing around and sat too close to the chalkboard on the side where I was sitting, and I probably wrote a word on there that I shouldn't have wrote, and he told me to write it, and I wiped it off and looked back. And Brent, you'll appreciate this. It was in Coach Parr's class. Coach Parr. And he said, Engelhardt, out in the hall. Took me out in the hall, didn't bother to bring his paddle. He went across the hall to get the tennis coach and had the tennis coach come out and light me up. And that's the only time. And that's all it took. I was like, I'm done. I'm done.
Tennis coach are pretty thin guys.
Could swing a
they're
paddle.
strong. They are strong.
I know.
I got licks from the tennis coach too. I called him
Yeah.
the equivalent of a penis one time, and anyway.
Reed.
Did Brent ever get licks from Mr. McBee? I don't remember. Did you ever get any licks from him, Brent?
So from Henderson, our
From Henderson?
counselor.
And the reason I'm asking is Brent one time, there's that convenience store across from the high school. Well, Brent goes and buys some Tootsie Rolls one day, and I'm like, what are you doing with those? And he brings them back to the office. Me and him are working office, and he starts licking these things and pulling these Tootsie Rolls out of his mouth. And I'm like, well, dude, what are you doing? And Mr. McBee had this, I think it was a bronze bulldog that was sitting on his desk. And in Brent's mind, he's thinking, I can make these Tootsie Rolls look like a pile of doo-doo. And he put it underneath that bronze bulldog. And it was so hysterical. And I think it was so funny he didn't get licks for that. But it was, I wish I had a picture of that because it looked like the bronze bulldog had taken a crap on his desk. It was hysterical.
I thought you were this really innocent guy in high school, and
It was funny.
I stand corrected.
Harmless pranks.
Harmless pranks. Yeah.
Who'd you get your licks from, Brent?
It was Mr. Henderson.
Henderson, my apologies. What did you do?
I did something in Miss Eversole's class, the accounting class. Trey Speck and I were in there kind of messing around. I think it was, talking loud or whatever. And I think she was done with us. And it was just a simple go to the office. And next thing you know, I got licks from Henderson. And there wasn't much to it. It was just one of those deals. The time was right, I guess.
Heflin, did you get any at all?
I can't remember getting any. I was
Damn.
pretty mild mannered when it comes to that kind of stuff.
Is that everyone? Colin, you said
Perfect. You got to ask perfect attendance guy. You got to ask him. Okay.
No, I did never get licks. I never got in trouble because I had perfect attendance and I didn't want to lose the records.
Was that
Is
that like entire school? I mean, since you were kindergarten or just senior year?
Yes, I for
Well,
12
right.
years.
Wow.
I never missed a day. I never missed a class. I was never tardy to a class.
Wow. I
Very
never
impressive.
skipped I never skipped a class ever or a day. I can say
But
that.
I'll tell you right now that I still have that certificate. It's in my office, and every year when I hire my seasonals, my lifeguards, and my camp counselors, we do an orientation for those employees every year, and I bring that in and I talk about how important it is that you're on work or at work on time, and I use it as a teaching tool. So it meant a lot to me, and it still means something to me now. So.
That's wonderful.
That all started. That started because my brother Jeff had gone. He had perfect attendance through the 7th grade, and then in the 8th grade at Estacado, he and another person, I don't remember who it was, popped some firecrackers in the library, and he got suspended. And so I started. The original deal was just to beat his record, and then after it got that far, I just decided to keep going with it. So.
Did these guys egg you on, try you to miss a day at all?
No, I mean, I think people were supportive about it. I don't, it wasn't a big deal. Nobody paid a lot of attention to it. I got a 5x7 piece of paper with Levant's signature on it. That was what I got for 12 years of perfect attendance. In the end, it wasn't.
But it was important to Colin.
Yeah, no, it was.
Yeah. Did you blow it up and frame it?
No, it's still actually the glass on the front is broken on it. Now I just never fixed it. It's been packed in boxes and moved around half the country on, I actually asked if they could send, because I saw something in the paper where they gave that award to somebody later on. It was about 4 or 5 years ago, and it was this nice big framed, college diploma. And I wrote to the school district, and I sent a picture of mine with the broken glass and the scratches, and it's all faded. And I said, would it be possible for me to get a replacement certificate? They sent me a photocopy of the one I have.
Oh, wow.
That is terrible, but I love that you're using that as a teaching tool, because you're teaching these young kids what integrity means, and that's lacking in. I now sound like an old lady. It's lacking in today's generation of kids, teaching integrity. But
there's two every single one of those meetings, somebody shows up late. And that's the first question is, what time does the 9 o'clock meeting start? And then I pull that thing out and I tell my story. And really? So,
Well, I'll say this, Colin, I think it was a major accomplishment. And I happen to know somebody in the city offices at Plainview that might be able to get you a key.
Hook me up, dude. Yeah, give me something.
We'll take that up at the next board meeting, won't we, Brent?
Yeah, we'll convene on that with the boss.
Appreciate it.
And Colin, just to add on, I mean, we all understood that it was important to you, and we respected that. I mean, we knew, it was just understood. And again, Lisa, like you're saying, integrity and character. I mean, all of these guys right here, that's where we come from. I mean, it was understood. There wasn't a whole lot of peer pressure to, Colin, you got to skip. Come on, you got to do something. No, we understood that's important to him, and we need to respect that. So
that's cool. What about your other brother Jay? Did he do the same?
I mean, as far as attendance goes, no, that
okay.
wasn't his deal. He was a football player, so.
All right.
Yeah, definitely. If you played for Sherwood, you had to have good grades and good attendance. I mean, that was a given. He didn't even have to tell you that. You just knew you had to show up. And I mean, that passed along one of the things that Coach Sherwood did, because even if he didn't coach other sports, that what's the word I'm trying to say? Concept or ideal that he brought kind of carried over to all the other coaches in the other sports, and I mean to the cheerleaders as well. So, if you were participating, you were going to be a good kid. You weren't going to screw it up.
Yeah, we said there, I didn't ever want to let my mom down.
my father down, but I sure as hell didn't want to let Coach Sherwood down.
Nope.
Mm-mm.
That's cool. So we're gonna see a WAWAS group picture next year.
I don't
Maybe.
know. If y'all want to, let's do it.
Patrick, you need to fly for that one.
I'll come in. I was gonna add, you know who else had perfect attendance all the way from like kindergarten through high school? Jeffrey Dahmer.
Bird of a feather.
That's
You just
terrible.
had that piece of information on just hold on to that piece of information.
It's been on the-
Remember, like
I'm
you
waiting to spring that on everybody.
remember you were the guy that had all the facts about everything, Colin. Remember, you just always knew the little things. Am I making this up? You remember I used to give you a hard time about it. I think I was always giving you a hard time, wasn't I?
Yeah. Ding ding. Remember that?
Ding, yeah.
Ding, ding, that's right. Ding, ding.
Ding ding.
Forgot about that. That was when Colin was going to beat me up, kind of like Apollo Creed. He would ding ding me, like I'm coming at you. I'm tired of you messing with me. So.
Is there a group picture of y'all? Did y'all take one back then? And does anyone have it?
Got to be somewhere.
Uh,
There's one. I think that one of it was either Nita or Christy Ade or something. They had it of the WAWAS.
I remember seeing that. You're right. It was on Facebook. You're right.
Yeah.
wearing the Hawaiian shirt and everything?
No, we just had on regular church jerseys.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when did you guys implement the Hawaiian shirts?
It's just part of
Yeah.
us sticking out from everybody else. It's doing something different.
This is
I don't
our
know.
road jersey, I think, Jeff.
It just started happening, right?
It's a tournament uniform.
Yeah.
I remember one time, it's pretty funny. I called into FMX. It was such a big deal back then as a radio station, and I got that DJ. Her name was Loris Lane, and she over the air said something about KFMX for the FBC WAWAS rock, and I thought that was the coolest thing that she said that over the air before we went and played a game one time. I recorded it. I've got it somewhere. I just don't know where it's at.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it was cool.
I forgot about that radio station.
It was a big deal back then.
Yeah, it was.
They're still
FMA.
around. I feel
Yeah.
like they're still around, aren't they?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Probably.
So who all made the trip to Nazareth?
Who didn't?
Who didn't?
Mop. Everybody?
We were
Todd,
on
I
a
bet you Todd never went.
Bet you I did. I bet I went with my dad many a times, and then I started traveling with Tim Hardage every once in a while, and just whoever. I mean,
We had
it's
a
kind of fun
rotation,
little
didn't we,
trip.
Todd? We had a
But I
rotation.
mean, and Mike, this. I mean, there was no reason to go to Nazareth when we just had to go over across the tracks and pull up in front of the houses. That was the easiest way to get beer.
In front of the Coke machine.
Right across the street from the Funky Onion.
Well, and
There
some
were-
of you guys had older siblings that could get booze for you, right? Several of you had older siblings that could.
Mhm.
Mine were too old. They were gone before I got into that. So
Yeah.
I had forgotten about the bootlegger on the east side of town.
Well, I used to go to Miss Helen's. That was one
Yeah.
bootlegger.
It was like $1 a tall boy. I want to
Yep.
say
Yeah.
Right.
$1 a tall boy, and you could get a 12-pack. Clifton and I would get a 12-pack, and that would be 6 apiece. That would be a good Friday night.
Did she
Think
ever
so.
Did Miss Helen ever get busted?
Who
I
knows?
don't think so.
You know,
I
the
don't
cop
think
had
so.
to know what was going on.
It was sketchy.
Everybody did.
There were no secrets in Plainview. I'm sure the cops knew, or somebody knew.
Oh, absolutely.
But how is it possible? How is it possible that Nazareth? It was George Book. We would go to the Oasis. Remember the Oasis?
Right. The Oasis.
And George Book would just let us do whatever. I mean, we would just buy whatever. He didn't care. Like 16, just going in. I guess drinking age was 18 then. But, and you'd pick up sometimes 10, 15 cases for all your friends,
Right.
I assume no one got caught.
Well,
I never
I don't
heard of
think so.
anybody.
I mean, it would have been so easy. I forgot what highway it was, but hey, DPS could just been parked and nailed so many kids
Yeah.
if they wanted to. But I guess that was money for the city of Nazareth.
Yeah.
Of course, back then, even in Plainview, we would be out drinking on the parking lot and stuff. And the police officers back then, they would confiscate it and tell you it's time to go home or whatever. I mean, I don't remember anybody really getting in any trouble.
Remember Gene Bass was always around.
Yeah, and Willie
McGee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember we had a Ruidoso trip, and I had everybody's supplies in my toolbox.
Here we go.
Todd was with me, and I got T-boned at an intersection, totaled my truck. And there's the cops are all standing around there, and there's whiskey dripping out of my toolbox. And we just moved all that over to another vehicle and went on. So yeah, the cops didn't care.
I mean, it's tough now because that's our classmates last year, they're telling us you have to be careful with the cops now in Plainview. They'll pull you over in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
If you have a broken tail light, you get pulled over. So
I want to ask a question about Ruidoso. So did somebody's parent own a house there that y'all all went to?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Brent's parents.
That was Brent's parents. Yeah.
Okay. And so y'all would go in the summertime, or did you go in the winter as well to go skiing?
Summer.
Skiing in Ruidoso?
Yeah.
We did some skiing, but it was for the horse races, and Reed would bring a trash bag full of chips and a 5-gallon bucket of salsa from and we would from the El Jardín, and we would sit out on the deck at the Gabriel's house and watch the planes come in at the airport for the races. And those were some of the best times. We got to be friends with some of the locals.
Yeah.
And we would come into town, and we'd stop by where they hang out and say, hey, we're in town. And a few of them would come up and visit the house. And that was really fun.
Brent, that's got to be something funny. I mean,
there's plenty of
you can share.
There's plenty of some things about
There's
that.
lots of money.
But you know what? What was funny. What was, again, the integrity of the group. We'd have the locals come up, and we'd meet people, and we'd have a party at the house. And somebody once said, you're having these people you didn't even know what was going on. I'm like, well, I hung out with really big guys. I mean, AC and Chad and Colin and Reed and all these big dudes, and we had fun, and these parties were good, and then things were cleaned up because everybody wanted to come again, and they took care of Dad, Mom and Dad's house, and we went over and over. And one time we were at the horse races, and we saw McBee. Y'all remember this? Saw McBee and I don't know who else, and they kind of looked at us and they go, "Y'all didn't see us, and we didn't see you."
Awesome. What happens?
That's funny.
Things in Ruidoso.
Yeah.
Did any of the neighbors spy for your parents?
I'll tell you.
Or did you pay them off?
No, my parents probably knew of what was going on, and in fact, my mother was telling my daughter Olivia. So my daughter's got this thing in her head. My mother told Olivia we used to have these parties and have homeless people to the parties, and I don't know what she was getting at by telling her that. But so that's just kind of a joke around our house that we were doing that, and the parties were fun and they were harmless, but it was. I'm sure they were aware of what was going on, and again, we took care of stuff and had a good time and no fouls.
Yeah, we would wash the sheets the Sunday before we left, and
I mean, the house was spotless when we left. Yeah.
Nice.
While everybody was walking around eating cereal with beer in it.
Oh.
Yeah, that was Marty.
That was Marty.
So Jeff, after you guys graduated and now you guys went to the college and stuff, but every summer, did you guys get together? I
We
mean, how
did
long
not.
did that last?
It just, I mean, are you talking about in terms of softball?
Well, no, this group right here.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
get together every now and then and talk, but I mean, everybody just kind of started having their own lives. Everybody went to different schools and, we see each other at reunions, but I don't remember hanging out all that much after this. It just sort of, it's weird because when you're a senior, you see these people from, some of them kindergarten up, and you don't think you'll ever have these people out of your lives. And all of a sudden, they've got this life and you've got this life. And it's kind of sad in some ways. You don't see that happening, and it does. And I regret not spending more time with all these guys because it was a lot of fun.
40 years later, it's still the same.
I'm
Oh,
glad
yeah.
we're
Unfortunately.
all together.
And I was really surprised too when this kind of came up. You texted me, and I how hard it was to remember some of this stuff. I couldn't believe how little recall I had of some of it specific wise. But it's just been that long. We're closing in on half a century that this has been, and so I was surprised by that.
Oh, good. That's cool. Well, guys, we've been on almost a couple hours, so let's start. Let's have some parting words. I guess I'll start with Chad.
Parting words. Hearing everybody speak, I think Brent said it best. We were really lucky to grow up in Plainview, Texas. We had us, I think he even said the word, we were in our own little bubble. So
Yeah.
I appreciate you doing this, Flo, and getting all the guys together, because it's great to reminisce and talk about the stories. But we're very lucky. Today's world's a lot different, guys. So I do appreciate it. It reminds me of how special it really was. So thank you.
Welcome, Todd.
And same thing I was saying earlier, man. It was just awesome living in Plainview. Got to carry on the Texas Tech with Colin. Good times there. Played tons of softball with Jeff and his wife, and tons of friends that we had here in Lubbock, and just continued on all that stuff. And get to see Brent Lee occasionally. Went down there and played golf with him. It's been a million years ago, but it seems like yesterday. Just getting to see Chad. Man, I haven't seen Chad since we probably graduated. I mean, It's been a long time. It's pretty amazing. We've already lived a whole life, it seems like. But I'm looking forward to next year. I hope that we all can get together some way, somehow. If we have to do it in Lubbock, we can do it in Lubbock. If we need to do it in Plainview, I'm sure Christy can help us make things happen there. But it's funny that you bring up, I would assume that you're talking about the house that you stayed in, Flo, is it the house down at the park? That used to be the
presidents of
Yeah,
Wayland. Yeah.
Yep.
Mhm.
Seems like a girl named Karina Jester, her parents stayed in that house for a while. So been there, done that. That's pretty interesting. That's pretty funny that you brought up that house.
Yeah, I stayed in the suite. I stayed in the upstairs.
Yeah.
So
looking forward to it. Hopefully we can all get together next year. We can fly in and get to see each other in person.
Colin?
Yeah, I don't know if I have a lot to add to all that. This has been fun to see you guys, and it's tough for us to get out there, especially to get from California to Plainview. You got to fly to Dallas or Kansas City or something crazy like that. But we'll make an effort for the reunion, and hopefully we'll see you in the flesh.
Jeff.
Yeah, I just want to echo what everybody else has said. This has been a lot of fun. I thought about a lot of things I haven't thought about in a long time. It felt like with the WAWAS, we kind of caught lightning in a bottle a little bit, and I don't remember one bad thing about it. I don't remember us arguing. I don't remember us not having. It was always a good time, and it was bad baseball that turned into better baseball, and I don't know. It was just a lot of fun. It just felt like we really kind of captured a moment there that for a year and a half, 2 years, that it was just nothing but fun. And we all looked forward to it. It was something that we couldn't wait to do, whether it was league or whether it was some oddball tournament that we were entered in Paducah or Petersburg or halfway. So it was a lot of fun, and I do miss all you guys.
Nice. Brent?
Echo the same. And I would say, Lisa and Flo, thank you guys. It's been fun to catch these shows and just hear stuff. And I mean, it's work on you guys, but it's fun for a lot of people. And we all greatly appreciate that. And then I hope, yeah, we all can pull the trigger and get a bunch of people together and push to get the reunion to be a big deal next year. And, you know, it was just, this conversation was great. And no doubt our experience in Plainview was unique beyond believable. And we grew up in a special time at a special place. And our group, I think, was, you know, everybody loved their group, but we had a big group that was very inclusive, and we had a lot of fun together, no doubt. So,
And you'll be in Plainview in October, correct?
Yeah, I'll come with AK. And so it's, you know what, I love coming to her stuff and getting to see the guys in front of us. And that's always fun. And it's just like, you know, going back and having, you know, Patrick and, you know, if Patrick comes around, but it's always fun to see both classes before and after. And I've had the privilege of doing that a couple of times. So anyway, it's always good.
Reed.
Well, thank y'all very much. Well, like everybody else has said, this platform that y'all created with Goat Knuckle Talk is pretty awesome. It's cool to listen to everybody. You know, my brother was on a couple of weeks ago, Tim Johnson, with the football team and stuff. And so it's fun to listen to the different classes. But like all these guys have said, we did have a tight group, and we still do. These guys, I mean, it was just a great time to grow up. I wish that the kids today could hear the times that we had together and stuff, and they wanted to live more like that. The world can be kind of tricky these days. And so I'm just thankful that we got to grow up in a time where we forged some friendships that, even though we haven't seen each other, I haven't seen a couple of these guys since the day we graduated, that today they're right here in front of me and they're my friends today. And so I appreciate it. And thanks, guys, for doing this with everybody. Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, the lone 86er.
I'm thinking, where were my fucking parents when they were letting me hang out with you guys?
And your dad was a doctor, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was kind of a hard ass too, but he went to bed early because he got up early. So once he was out, he was out. So, and my mom was pretty soft. I have specific sweet memories of each one of you. And, you know, just like you can get from Reed, just what he said, you know, Reed Rowell is one of the sweetest guys you're ever going to meet. And that's just my memories of Reed. It's just always being a blast. And, you know, Colin and I, of course, had a great relationship. I used to pick on Colin a little bit, but he always, you know, he would beat me up. And I go way back with Brent. Fond memories of Jeff, fond memories of Chad Engelhardt moving into town and him living in Westridge. And I think, as I said at the beginning, it was just such an honor to sort of, you know, to always be kind of part of this older group, and, you know, to be accepted and to just be one of those guys, one of their guys. And so yeah, totally. Flo, thank you guys for putting this on. Good times. Appreciate you doing this.
Cool. Appreciate it. Oh, what happened to Reed?
You know, guys, one of the fun things about getting to listen to everybody that comes on these shows, and especially tonight too, is observing y'all just pick up where you left off. That even for some of you that haven't seen each other since high school graduation, that it's like time hasn't passed. You know, you're as connected, and the affection and the care that y'all have for each other is so evident. And, you know, Michael and I are really fortunate to always get to be a witness to these conversations. It's a gift that we receive every time somebody's on our program, and we're so grateful. And it's always fun to hear, you know, fellow classmates, even if they're upperclassmen or underclassmen, to share their experiences, because it brings up a lot of memories for us as well. And I say this with every group that's been on here. Y'all are really blessed to have each other and the rest of the people that y'all hung out with in high school. And we were all so fortunate to have grown up in Plainview and to have the relationships that we had and the experiences that we had. And we were really sheltered. We were, like you really coined it right. We were in a bubble, Brent. We were super sheltered, and you knew that, the community, your classmates, teachers, whoever, we were protected in a way that young people are not today, because of the closeness of the town that we grew up in. And what a gift that we all had. And super cool that you guys agreed to come on. And I'm just going to tell you, freaking show up to your 40th reunion. You won't regret it.
Yes,
A lot of
yes.
fun. We're all getting older, and the connection that you'll have at this age with the way the world is, with everything we've gone through with COVID and everything, I promise you, if you go to your reunion next year, the connection in person will be so much more meaningful than past reunions, just because of everything that's happened in our world. And you won't regret it. You'll be so grateful and thankful that you went and got to spend time with each other. You may not have this gift again. Life is short, and some of you may not make it to your 50th, or other classmates. So I highly encourage you to go. It's worth it. It's worth the trip, Colin, from California. Yeah.
Now and then I challenge you guys to find that photo from Christy or one of the Rita Nita, because I was able to, in our class, that's our senior picture baseball, and all the guys are on this picture as well. None of us, all of us are still around, so we're able to take this picture at our class reunion. So if y'all could do that, that would be really cool.
Question for you before we leave. How did the subject of the WAWAS come up? I was surprised that we were doing this, first of all. And how did it come up?
Todd, as I mentioned, Todd was on the 31 podcast, the Pirates, and he played on the Pirates with us. And I remember seeing you guys, as I mentioned, when I went to Plainview, I don't know, it was a Thursday or Friday, I don't remember, and then I saw the lights in the softball park, and I was a softball player. I was playing then in Lubbock, and I just drove out there, and then I saw you guys play. And who was sitting there? I think A-Day, Allison Hayes, which is Brent's, late wife, and just watched you guys. And I was like, you know what? I need that group, because that's a fun group. And
Interesting.
and then Brent, we had his wife on a few weeks back, the class of '84, and I mentioned that to him. I said we need the WAWAS, and I text Todd and Brent and got all the names.
That's funny.
So, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I try to get these groups. I try to remember from way back then. Like I have class of '82s coming on next. Patrick Laura's going to be on it. Of course, Jay's been on it. Colin, Todd's been on it, and Chad. You get 85 guys. I would like to have a football team. Patrick, get a basketball team. It doesn't have to be from class of '86. Reach out to Baker. Did you play with Baker?
No, but I played a whole lot of pickup basketball with him. So
Yeah.
He was a great ball player.
So, yeah, guys, you guys get welcome back anytime. Just let us know.
Fine. Thank you.
Well, cool. Anyway, guys, thank y'all. I don't know what happened to Mr. Reed, but we appreciate it. And hopefully we'll see pictures of the next 40th year high school reunion.
Cool.
Thank you, Michael.
Lisa. Appreciate it, Lisa. Thank you, Michael.
Good night.
Yeah.
Bye.
Well, Lisa.
It was so good to see these guys.
Yeah, and I know there were a tight group, but I didn't realize they were that close back then. And again, and every time I would see their group, I would see the girls with them, and that's why I mentioned, they also had the group of girls that hung out with them. But I didn't know they did a lot of pranks.
I didn't either. Well,
That was shocking.
well, we were gone by that time. Plus,
Yeah.
we were seniors when they were sophomores, so we were kind of in our own little world, with senioritis, and thinking we're the big kids on campus. So we weren't really too involved, unless you had a younger sibling, we weren't too involved with that class. But
Right.
yeah, it was fun hearing about their pranks. I would have never guessed that about these guys. I just thought they were all so straight laced. And I guess they kind of were. I mean, those weren't serious pranks.
Right.
Going to get anybody in serious.
Well, going in the high school courtyard, that could have been serious.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, next week's show is another group of class of 81. No, not 81, not just strictly 81. It's some 81 guys and some class of 80 stage band under Mr. Burks. So we'll have them, and fortunately we had to reschedule Christiade. We had an emergency personal situation that we had to take up, but we'll schedule her next week. So, and she had on that post, I think it's close to 1.3 thousand people have viewed that post. So everyone's excited to hear what's happening in Plainview right now.
Yeah, I'm excited for her to share all the good stuff that's happening.
Yes.
And to just catch up with her. Yeah, so that's going to be a lot of fun.
Okay, well, good night and peace and love. Peace and love. We'll see you next week.
Ciao.